West Ham Massive are pleased to support Irons Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham and Essex communities. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, Barking and Dagenham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of the video details of this stream on YouTube. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Friday evening. I was planning on doing this a little bit later, to be honest with you, but you know, it's good actually that when you've got your own YouTube channel, you can kind of fuck around with it. And I probably should get it out of the way because you've probably noticed already. If adult language offends, do not watch this because I might let slip the odd curse word. I don't mean to offend anyone, but if it happens, it happens. Anyway, we're here to discuss the Europa League Group A match day 2 of 6 that took place yesterday. Freiburg 1, West Ham United 2 at the Europa Park Stadion. Excuse me. As I always say, guys, please don't forget to like, comment on and share this stream to your social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. Make sure to click all. And we always thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Right. Okay. So I'm hoping that if anyone's actually watching this, and at the minute, I think I've got 3 of you watching live, what I'm going to do, a little bit of something different. And hello, Larry. Hope you are well. And I thought I'd do something a little bit out of left field. Don't normally do this. Done it once or twice, but I'm going to share a link with you guys in the chat. And be quite interested to sort of get you to sort of do this simultaneously with me. That's the link from TNT Sports for the game that took place yesterday. So basically what I'm going to do is it's basically going to be kind of a watch along, if you will, but it's going to be a not a live watch along. It's going to be a watch along of a highlight reel that lasts about 3 minutes. So if you guys want to watch it with me, please feel free. Or if you don't and you want to sort of just listen to me watching it and passing on my thoughts on things, then please feel free. So I'm now going to hit the play button. I'm going to turn the sound down a little bit because it's always a little bit off-putting. But it starts off. Now, I actually missed this bit. So the ball's played into Jared Bowen down the right wing, who's obviously just got his England call up. He plays the ball in. Now, Paquetá rose like an absolute salmon there to get his head to the ball. Now, at this point, I was literally walking through my front door. I was coming back from Peterborough, where the head office of the company that I work for is. And as I walked through the door, my daughter said, we've scored. I was like, wow, powerful header. Now we move on. I mean, this goalkeeper was looking well dodgy. He makes the save, but it wasn't terribly convincing. A save from Kudus. Ball was played in by Paquetá, who I thought had a really good game here. Fornals driving into the penalty box, passes it into Paquetá. He puts the ball in the back of the net. It was immediately flagged up as offside. And when you look on the replay, yeah, it was. Probably about the only thing he did it right, actually, Fornals, but we'll get into that in a little bit. We get into the second half. Bit of a double save from Fabianski, and then Freiburg get the equaliser. Now, in the first half, I thought we'd pretty much been maybe not dominant, but controlled. Had opportunities to get a second and didn't take it. And I was always concerned at half time that maybe they'd be spurred into action. And of course, 3 minutes in, this happens. It is 1-1. There were some opportunities in the second half. Here's one here. Ball played in, looping header, came off the woodwork. The rebound fell to one of their players who blazes it over the top. You're sitting there and you're thinking, we got a problem here, because all the momentum at this point was with the German side. Just watching here again, as I say, it's this looping header, and the guys blazed it over. I mean, like I say, as Robbie Savage says on comms there, he's got to hit the target. We move into the 61st minute. Bowen's on the right-hand channel, dancing past he goes into the penalty box, unleashes a left foot shot rather, and it's straight at the goalkeeper. Again, not terribly convincing in the save. He looked poor all night. 66th minute, corner, bang, in there. I believe it was James Ward-Prowse on the penalty. Yes, it was. Penalty corner, rather. Again, the goalkeeper, not terribly convincing, which is great from our point of view. But I think he was their weak link there. 79th minute, ball played forward. Paquetá's in the end of it. He lets Kudus in. Puts this shot just past the goalkeeper's right-hand post. Probably about, I don't know, 88th minute. Paquetá, ball through. Bowen, left foot shot. And again, just past the post. I mean, we could have. It's one of those sort of like, I think it was a game of 3 quarters, essentially, I believe. I think the first third of the match was West Ham. The middle third of the match was Freiburg. And then the last of the match was ours. There was a call there in the last play of the match, corner, where they were saying, Robbie Savage is saying, was it a handball? But there was no VAR call. There was no referee that intervened. And that was the game over, really. So, but yeah, I thought that it was a very professional performance. I thought that we played quite well. Larry says that was a beautiful play, great cross and header. I take it you're talking about the goal from Paquetá. As I say, I actually missed it when it happened, and I was trying desperately to find a radio station. I was looking on TalkSport, I was looking on Radio 5 Live. There was nothing, and I was fuming, mate. I can't lie, but of course I got in. I'd only missed the first 8 minutes of the match, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, let's do a little bit together of a what do they call it? Player ratings. I had a brain fart there. It's terrible when you start getting old. So, and again, you guys in the live chat, let's get involved in this. So, we got Lucas Fabianski who was between the sticks. Now, look, I think he can feel very aggrieved this season. I don't think he's put a foot wrong to find himself now as the cup goalkeeper. For me, I think that for the goal, I think there was a level of culpability he had. That being said, when the shots came in latterly, he put a couple of good saves. He couldn't eventually keep the ball out. I don't think that's on him. So for me, I mean, Lawrence, you've gone with a 6. Do you know what? That's probably about right, I would suggest. I think that's probably a fair call. I think 6, give or take, is probably where I'm going to go with that. So we move along and playing at left back. Now, this was, I thought, a very strange selection, not necessarily for the guy that was selected, but more for where he was placed, because at left back we had Thilo Kehrer. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I remember Thilo Kehrer, and I'm pretty sure I'm not misremembering this. And if anybody feels like they want to correct me and say that I've got it wrong, I've misremembered, that's fine, not a problem. But I'm pretty sure that the last time he played at left back was away against Leeds United last season. And it was, and let's be fair, Tilo Kehrer has had a couple of performances where he didn't exactly cover himself in glory. But when I saw that he was playing at left back again, and initially, I'll be honest, the lineup that I saw suggested that we was a 3-5-2 and he was actually a left wing back, which I was a little bit surprised by. In actual fact, the very early lineup, I said that Aguirre was the left wing back and Kehrer was the left centre back. It was very, very strange, but I think it was eventually determined he was playing as left fullback. Yeah, I thought he was got at, to be honest. I thought he was. Yeah, look, it's not his natural position. I'm still not sure what his natural position actually is, if I'm being brutally honest. Is he a right back? Is he a centre back? I don't think he's a left back. I'm pretty sure of that. Defensive midfield? What is he? He's one of these jack of all trades, master of none type players. He's a bit of a. And I'm not saying that they're similar in terms of their attributes and sort of their capabilities. I'm just saying in terms of the fact Swiss Army knife of a player. Bit like a Steve Potts, you know, he can play in many different roles, but you're not entirely sure which one's the best one. I mean, Larry's come in, he says 5, not his normal position. They attacked his side at the start of the second half. Yeah, and that was where I thought they got a bit of joy in the second half. As I say, I think it was a game of 3/3. West Ham had the better of it. Then Freiburg came into it, and then we finished strong. I think 5 is probably a fair reflection as far as the German international is concerned. But then we move inside, and forgive me while I just find the button to press. There we go. So we then move to Naya Fagere. Now, a player who in recent weeks, and I've been one of his detractors, and I'm not going to shy away from that. I don't think that anything I've said has been out of line or unfair. He has cost us goals. He did have a needless sending off, in my opinion, against Chelsea. We won the game. That's fine. But I think he's come in for a bit of constructive criticism of late. And yesterday, I think he did maybe not make me think that all of a sudden he's the best centre-back in the Premier League or anything like that. But I think everything has to be viewed on its own merits. I think he played well. He obviously got the goal, as you saw if you watched the TNT Sports footage with myself and Larry. I'm guessing you did. That he obviously got the goal. Powerful header. Yes, the goalkeeper helped him, but you know what? That's not really his issue. I thought Aguirre looked much better. I thought he looked more composed. I thought he looked more strong, resolute, if that's the way that I looked at it. I mean, Larry's jumped in here and he's given him a 7. And I think that's probably, I think I'm sort of torn between a 7 and an 8. I think he was in that sort of territory, a 7 or an 8 sort of. I mean, I don't like giving half marks. I think if I could give a half mark, I probably would go 7.5. It's one of those. I think he was better than a 7. I don't think he was quite an 8, but he wasn't far off. But yeah, I thought he had a really good game, and it's somewhere in that sort of region, I think. Now, the guy that played alongside him would have had an awful lot of experience against this team. Not all of it good, mind. Not all of it would have been good. From what I understand, he'd played against Freiburg in 5 previous occasions and had lost all of them. Well, he's finally managed to break that particular sequence, and we'll talk about sequences in a little bit. But he managed to get a win against this team. Now, I think he looked okay. I'm not quite sure he was up to the level of the guy playing alongside him, but that's no slight on him. He had a good game, did Dinos. I think he's probably, again, because I can't give half marks, that's the rules. I'm probably going to give him a 6, but it's a strong 6 rather than a it's probably a strong 6, week 7, something in that sort of area. Lawrence has given him a 7, as I say. So we're not a million miles away from each other. Lawrence, the Greek international, played all right. So we then had a right fullback. We obviously had the ever reliable Vladimir Kufal, who obviously has had something of a renaissance lately. He's very, he's very reliable. What you see is what you get. I mean, just looking at some of the stats here I've got on the dashboard, his pass success 79%, decent enough. He had 1 dribble, one aerial, one tackle. He wasn't dispossessed at any point. Um, he was pretty decent. I don't think he was quite at the level he has been in recent Premier League games, but then in recent Premier League games, he's got an assist in the previous 3 in each of those particular matches. So, solid 7. Yeah, I think it was an unspectacular 7 or 6. It was sort of like it's not a 7/8. I'd say it's a 6/7 for me. Yeah, he had a decent enough game. I would like to think. Okay, so let's move into central mid. So we had playing in central midfield, James Ward-Prowse. Now, James Ward-Prowse obviously got the assist for the second goal that we got. He got 1 shot away. He got pass success, a very respectable 84%. He took obviously took a couple of corners, one of which resulted in the goal. Actually, no, hang on. Yeah, he took one of the corners that resulted in the goal. Excuse me. I'm just looking at some information here, and I'm like, hang on a minute. Is that it was a little bit contradictory, but no, that's fine, not a problem. And I've actually got him. You'll notice, you guys that are watching this live, just to bring it to your attention. And if you're watching this on Twitter, or if you're watching this on Facebook, please feel free to pop across to the live stream on YouTube, because at the minute I've got a poll running where I've asked for the man of the match. Now, at the minute, there's 4 possible contenders. At the minute, there's one player that's running away with it, and that is Lucas Paquetá. He's on 100%. Bowen, Ward-Prowse, and Kudus are the other candidates. So get yourself across there and have a vote and see if you might be able to change that. Let's make it a little bit more interesting, because at the minute, the Brazilian Magnifico is running away with it. But anyway, back to business. So James Ward-Prowse, for me, I think, yeah, he was a solid 8. I think it was an 8 verging on a 9 for me. Let's just have a little look here. Yeah, Lawrence has gone with an 8, and he's obviously got his little golfing emoji in there as tribute to the England number 7. Well, no, sorry, not the England number 7. That's a Freudian slip, if ever there was one, isn't there? Given that he never got into the England squad. Well, do you know what? I was going to do a little video about that, about how it's an interesting dichotomy of how I feel over the fact that Jared Bowen got in and James Ward-Prowse didn't. And I've got conflicting thoughts on how this is. I feel about this, but I didn't get a chance to do the video today, so I might do it tomorrow. Larry comes in and says, would have got a 9 if he'd have finished the 1 attempt. Yeah, look, it's one of those. I think he still had a very creditable game, though, Larry. I don't think you can really sort of hold that against him too much. But yeah, he probably should have done better, don't get me wrong. But, we move on. So the guy that was alongside him in central mid, Edson Alvarez, again, he's had a very impressive start to his time in Claret and Blue. I think yesterday probably wasn't one of his better performances that I've seen in a Claret and Blue shirt. He did what he needed to do. He got picked up another yellow card though. He does like the old yellow cards, and I don't know. At some point they're gonna rack up, and he's gonna miss a couple of games, and possibly the loss if it comes against an opposition that are really gonna sort of take advantage of that. That's gonna be a big miss for me. So he needs to be careful. He needs to sort of look. I don't want him to lose the aggression. I think that sort of like some players need to have that aggression in them to be the very best that they can be. And I'm not saying take the aggression out of it, but I think he just needs to be a little bit more controlled for me. Again, strong 6, weak 7, I think is probably where I would put the Mexican. Yeah, good game. Yeah, as I say, I think I'm going to downgrade him for the card. I think I'm going to give him a 6, Larry. And as I say, it's becoming a little bit of a trend, and I'm getting a bit concerned that he's going to miss a game and we're going to be made to pay for it. So I'm going to give him a 6. We're going to move on now because I really do want to talk about this guy, and that's Pablo Fornals. Now, I love Pablo Fornals. Let me get that out the way, right? A manly sort of love, a sort of a bromance type love. You know what I mean? He's not English. He's not an East Ender. He didn't grow up with posters of Tony Cottee or Paolo Di Canio on his bedroom wall. But he came to the East End of London. He embraced the culture. He embraced the club, our ethos. He's bought into it. He gets what being a West Ham fan, let alone a player, is all about. And last season, didn't have a great season, but he had a couple of great moments. He obviously got the goal via a deflection, but he got the goal that got our first win in the Premier League away at Aston Villa. He got a scorpion kick goal away at Dean Court, or the Vitality Stadium as it's now called, against Bournemouth. Scorpion kick. The ball was behind him. He obviously gets his heel up, back heels it into the net. Incredible goal. He gets the goal away at Alkmaar, which decides the semi-final tie and puts us into the final against Fiorentina in Prague, which we obviously know what happened after that. What's happened since is quite concerning, because the Pablo Fornals that I'm seeing right now is a very pale imitation of the Pablo Fornals that has gone before him. Now, I'm not for 1 minute sitting here and turning around and saying he is prime David Silva. He's not quite on that level. In fact, he's quite a few rungs below that level. But at his best, he has been I think his best season, in my opinion, was the season that we finished 7th, where he started the season, he chipped in with a few goals. He was a very useful player, I have to say, goals, assists, and all the rest of it. But he's been nowhere near that. And this season he's plummeted. I mean, Ben was on the match preview of this particular fixture, and he made his selection, and he made a comment, and it was something along the lines of he's running out of chances. I think on the basis of what I saw yesterday, I think for the foreseeable future, I don't believe that Pablo Fornals really deserves another chance on the basis of his lack of performances. That's just me. Now, I'm not saying that we should never see him in a claret and blue shirt again. I'm mindful of the fact that his contract is up at the end of the season. But I've got to call it as I see it. I thought he was absolutely pitiful yesterday. And I think it was quite cruel of David Moyes to allow that performance to be played out for 70 minutes. There was no need for it, in my opinion. I think that the kindest thing that Moyes could have done would have been to sub him off as soon as possible. Look, give him 10 minutes into the second half, fine. But around about 55 minutes, mate, it's just not happening. You got to get him off. You got to try something else, because he's disappearing up his own arse. this might be really harsh, and as I say it with a heavy heart because I've got a lot of time for Pablo Fornals. He was a 4. He was a 4, I believe. And in fact, I've just seen your comment there, Larry. You've kind of gone with me. And yeah, to let that go on for 70 minutes, I think is very cruel. It's probably the one thing that I will have a little bit of a negative for David Moyes for last night. Hi Rob, hope you well. I do think he let Pablo Fornals carry on last night way too long. I do think it's a confidence issue. I hope that Pablo can rediscover some of that confidence and therefore his form before we, in all likelihood, wave adios at the end of the season. And I wish him well for the rest of his career. But he probably is at a stage now. He probably does need to leave for his own sake as much as anything else. But yeah, that's me with Pablo Fornals. So we then move inside. Now, conversely, the guy that was occupying the playmaker role yesterday, Lucas Paquetá, got the opener and I thought was very busy, very creative in that final third. He's he's not a player. He's not the player that I thought he was, and that I mean that in a good way. We got him in 50 million quid Brazilian. Well, we was told the Brazilian number 10, this, that, and the other. Whether he is or not is another matter. But let's have a look at some of the stats. He got one shot away. His pass success. Now that's probably the one surprising thing. Is I look at his pass success yesterday. It was at 69%. But he had 3 dribbles. He won 2 aerials. He won 1 tackle. He was dispossessed 4 times, but I think he was busy. He was causing them problems. If it hadn't have been, and this is a little bit of a moan, because the one thing I hate is seeing players throw themselves to the ground feigning injury when it's quite clear that there's either A, no injury whatsoever, or B, the contact is quite minimal. And I noticed there, Lawrence, you've given him a 9 and you believe he's your man of the match. He's my man of the match, actually. However, I have to downgrade him for that play acting that I saw in the second half. He threw himself to the floor, trying to buy a free kick. That was very disappointing. I have to be fair and equal and even-handed. If I was to see that from an opposition player, I'd be like, get the fuck up. Stop this fucking around. You're taking the piss. So when I see one of my own players do it, I have to call it out for what it is. Play acting, cheating, gamesmanship, whatever you want to call it. There's just no need for it as far as I'm concerned. So he does lose a mark for that. Good performance, can't lie. Very good performance. Obviously got the opening goal that set the tone. But I'm glad you think so, Larry. As I say, I'm not going studs up on him. I'm not saying he should never play for our club again and da. But it's something that doesn't sit right with me. And as I say, that's if I'm going to criticize players of other clubs for doing that sort of shit, then I have to criticize players of our club when I see them do it. I don't think that's the right thing to do for me. I know there are some people that might be a little bit more partisan, a little bit more myopic, and not see the bad that the players do when they're wearing claret and blue, and only see the bad that the players wearing the other shirt do. But I'm not like that. I have to call it for what it is, and it's play acting. And Rob, yes, he is a great player, but I think he tries too hard, tries to do too much, and therefore he's going to cost us. Yeah, but I don't think that absolves him from throwing himself to the floor and trying to buy a free kick, mate. I don't think that's got anything to do with trying too hard or not trying hard, or it's cheating, plain and simple, mate. I can't have that. And as I say, he's lost a point. He's still my man of the match, but he could have been a 9, and instead he's got an 8 from me for that. I thought there was just no need for it. We then move on to the right wing, playing there. Well, I say right wing. Was he? I mean, it was sort of Bowen and Kudus sort of like interchanging. We'll go with right wing, but whatever. We'll come to Bowen in a minute. I thought Kudus had a decent game actually. I thought he again looked lively. He occupied his opposite number. He had 2 shots at goal, one of which, if you were watching the TNT footage with me earlier, you would have seen. It was a matter of a foot or two past the post. On another day, it's inside, and he's got a third goal in 2 Europa League games. Pass success, pretty decent, was 79%. He was busy as far as the going on dribbles was concerned. He had 3. He won 2 aerials, which is, again, you look at that and go, oh, maybe that's not a stat I was expecting him to excel in. He also won 2 tackles, if you please. So, looked lively. I think there's still plenty more to come from this kid. I think that when David Moyes finally unleashes him in the Premier League, I think he's going to cause some opposition backlines a hell of a problem with his pace and with his trickery. I think yesterday, for me, I think he's a solid 7, a solid, and Larry agrees with that. I think he's a solid 7. Yeah, I get what you mean there, Rob. That's fair enough. I think that when he loses the ball, he does tend to sort of go flying in. And again, he's probably a little bit like Alvarez. He leaves himself vulnerable to yellow cards, talking about Paquetá. Larry, yeah, I see a bright future for this kid. I think he once he's unleashed by David Moyes, I think he's going to be very difficult to get out of the first team. And whichever player it is that drops out to accommodate him is going to have to wait for his form to drop to a less than acceptable level in the eyes of David Moyes, or an injury or a suspension, whatever, to open the door. And you know what? I'm absolutely fine with that, because it's that sort of competition that's good for a squad. Rob comes in, says he was good in parts, but seemed to be caught in the headlights at times. Okay, I'm not quite. I saw it that way, but that's fair enough. You may well have that particular assertion. Well, the last one of the outfielders that we're going to cover off is the guy that yesterday got an England call up again. Now, I think that a lot of people are quite excited by this, and I'm a little bit conflicted actually. But I'll do a recording a little bit later on explaining where I'm at with this. But we'll park that for now, and let's just concentrate on the game that took place yesterday. Well, Jarrod Bowen, he may not have scored a goal yesterday, but I thought he was, again, very lively, very busy. He actually had 4 shots at goal. He got the assist for the opener, obviously playing the ball into Paquetá, crossing it in from the right-hand side. His pass success rate was a very respectable 83%. Now, again, was he operating as the striker? Was he operating on the right wing? I think him and Kudus were sort of interchanging on this particular graphic that I'm looking at. They've got him as the number 9. And I think that a number 9 to have 83% pass success is very creditable. He went on 3 dribbles as well. He won 1 aerial. And yeah, he was lively. He was busy. He got a couple of shots away, one of which was in the second half straight at the goalkeeper. I think that he could have got himself a goal, didn't, but he can't do everything on his own. So I think I'm probably going to slightly disagree with Larry, although not a million miles away. I think that he was strong 7. I think that if his finishing had been as it has been of late, he'd have got a goal easily. And I think that's where he kind of loses a mark for me, is because I've now come to the point where I expect it's a bit like Deck, for him, a sort of like a bad performance was a 7. And I'm not actually saying that Bowen had a bad performance by giving him a 7, far from it. But I think that we've kind of been treated to the excellence of Jarrod Bowen over an elongated period of time. And I think that when he doesn't sort of quite get there, I might be being harsh, and I'm kind of talking myself and sort of thinking, well, yeah, but he might not have scored, but he did get an assist, and that's the thing, is sort of like, even with an assist, I'm sitting here and going, yeah, but is that good enough? And that's the standards he set for himself. Do you know what I mean? Is that I'm judging him by a really high criteria. Rob says he's the man of the match. Well, in that case, Rob, let me just have a look. Have you voted on the poll? And I'm guessing you must have done, because we've got 4 votes, and I'm guessing that one of them, the one for Jared Bowen, must be you, I would guess. Yeah, I mean, Jared Bowen, really, I think he was a 7. I think he was a 7 verging on an 8. As I say, I think the man of the match for my money was Lucas Paquetá, but I do think he lost a mark for the play acting. I didn't quite like that, but it puts us in a really good spot. It puts us in a very good spot, because right now we've played 2 games in the Europa League, and we find ourselves top of Group A with 6 points. We've arguably had our easiest game. Not that I'm not saying they're easy, but arguably our easiest game in the first match day. And in the second match day, we've had arguably our hardest game. And I'll just share this with you and just get this up on screen. We've arguably had our most toughest game yesterday. Hang on. No, that's probably better. Away at Freiburg, I would argue. You could turn around and make the case that, well, away at Olympiacos is going to be more difficult. And I know that it doesn't work like this, but we've just beaten a team that went to Olympiacos and got 3 points themselves. So logically, you would probably say that we're probably the favourites in that particular encounter. But there we are, 2 matches, 2 wins. We're 3 points clear of the team that's in second, who are still Freiburg. Olympiacos and Başakşehir played out a draw yesterday, so they're rooted on 1 point. Olympiacos in third by virtue of having got 1 goal better off on the goal difference. There's still a lot that can change. There's still a great deal of twists and turns that I'm sure we're going to see in the 4 match days that remain of this particular group of this particular competition. But I think it would take an awful lot for us. I think what we can definitely say, without any shadow of a doubt, I think we can definitely say that we are definitely going to have European football in 2024 of one way, shape, or form. And even if, horror of horrors, there was some calamity that befell us between now and the end of match day 6 that meant that we finished third, there's no way we're finishing rock bottom. That's for damn sure. Even now, if we didn't win another game, 6 points, I'm pretty confident would be enough to see us through to the Conference League. But I got to be honest, I think now that we've won the first 2, and one of them I consider to be the most difficult game that we're going to face in the group, away to Freiburg, now I think we need to really go for it. We've obviously got the game against Olympiacos, which I believe is at the London Stadium, unless someone wants to correct me. I'm pretty sure that the next game is London Stadium against. In fact, I know it is because I actually bought tickets. It's just literally popped into my head. So it definitely is at London Stadium. So that, realistically, we should win that, right? Which would put us on 9 points. Well, that's us virtually in either the last 16 of the Europa League, or worst case scenario in the playoffs. Now, I would argue that even if horror of horrors again, if we finish second, yes, okay, it's a team that comes down from the Champions League that you've got to face. But you know what? We completed a little bit of history yesterday, and there will be people that will turn around and say, yeah, but pretty much all them games were in the Conference League. Listen, it doesn't really make much odds to me. We've done something that no other British team has done in the history of UEFA competitions, and we have gone 17 matches without suffering a reverse. In fact, of those 17, the only blemish, if you will, is a draw, and I believe that was against AZ Alkmaar from memory. So anyway, let's just have a little look at some of the comments. Yes, I heard this on the way home. Condolences to the Ferguson family. Yeah, awful news. I don't really know what else to say there. It's terrible, terrible news, and my heart goes out to the family of Sir Alex. I give Ings a 10 for not going offside for 6 minutes play. Fair dues, Larry, and we are massive. Chris, hope you are well, my friend. Good luck. And yeah, we should win this group. I mean, even with 2/3 of this particular group left to go, I'll make no mistake saying I'm now expecting us to win it. Now, maybe that puts pressure on us, but I don't think pressure is a bad thing. It's when it becomes sort of like a stress that you could turn around and say that maybe it's a negative force. But I think we should use that pressure to spur us on. So that's just my take on it. But yeah. So we've done well. We've obviously got a game on Sunday at London Stadium that we're going to obviously do a review for. But that we'll talk about down the track. But for now, very impressive performance. 17 games undefeated in European competition football. Oh, it's away. Oh, hang on. So what's the ticket I've bought? Because I've already bought the ticket for the home game. Are you sure? Hang on. I'm sure you've looked. Hang on. Hang on a moment. 26th of October. Oh, it is away. You're right. Okay, so the tickets that I've bought are for the home game, which is it's the right. Okay. All right. Well, we can edit that bit out, Rani. But thank you for pointing that one out to me. I do appreciate it. So our next game is the 26th of October. So yeah. So Olympiacos. It won't be easy, but I am expecting us to win that one. Or if not, just come away with a point. That'd be a half decent result. If we win tomorrow, says Chris, a new second tier record for starting a season. Is that right? I never knew. You might have worked out. Chris is a Leicester fan, and I do apologise if you can hear my dog barking in the background. For me, I can see why Dino and Kudus are getting minutes, but are not starting in the Prem. I expect to be in the minority, though. Listen, you're entitled to your opinion, mate. And at the minute, it appears your opinion and that of David Moyes are aligned. You bought tickets for an empty stadium. Shut up. Then Olympiacos at home, then Freiburg at home, Serbs away. We should be qualifying, mate. I'll make no mistake for saying that. So, but there you go. Right. I'm going to disappear. As I say, we're going to set up the Newcastle preview in due course. So please join us for that. Thanks for joining us. I'd also like to say, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon and hit all. And as and when we add new content to the channel, you'll be notified immediately, basically. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this particular matter. Please don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. And we'll see you next time. Come on, you Irons, and we are fucking massive. The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Irons Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham and Essex communities. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, Barking and Dagenham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of the video details of this stream on YouTube. Thank you for your support, come on, you Irons.